Hello, everyone. This is Editor Dylan, and I'm just here to say before the episode starts, my bad. This episode was recorded back in August of last year, and then life got in the way, and I only got to editing it recently. Now, this shouldn't affect any of the actual information in the episode, it's all still relevant, but if any dates seem a little confusing or inaccurate, that's why. All right, enjoy the episode. Welcome to the Weekly Listens podcast, episode 4. Today, we are back with another Endicott entity, Mr. Ari Stillman.
Hello.
Yay!
Hello.
Welcome to the podcast.
Thank you. I'm honored to be a part.
It's an honor to have you.
Oh, you don't have to say that.
Okay, we'll cut it.
It's in the contract.
So today, we are going to talk with Ari about his process in creating music and all of the other arts he does. And after, we're going to talk a little more about some music we've been reviewing recently that Ari enjoys, like Stevie Wonder, JID, and wherever else the conversation takes us.
Indeed.
So first, Ari, if you could talk to us about your creative process and how you write your own music.
Yeah. Well, unfortunately, I don't have a great answer for you. I don't really have like a super good creative process. Most of the work I did on like my thesis and all of that, it was kind of like most of the work got done when I felt inspired, which is not something. I mean, it's something that is great, but it's not something you can kind of rely on much. I think my poem, like the poetry I've written, has been the biggest example. Like, you know, I was kind of writing out of almost emotional necessity and not kind of because I wanted to create art. Well, obviously I always want to create art, but yeah, I've been trying to create in general this summer, and I've been super busy, so it's been harder. So I'm trying to get through how my creative process works and kind of trying to set intentions and when I'm being creative.
Yeah, and with your thesis, for those that don't know, could you explain
absolutely.
your thesis a little?
So my senior thesis, was about the ability of a composer and performer in facilitating emotional responses during, in this case specifically, music performance. So the paper goes all into the different devices that composers can use in their music to imply certain things, and the different kind of things a performer can do, like being more emotive in their physical body, even when it's not a physical kind of performance, that enhances the kind of emotional response people get from that performance. But the second part of that was how everybody individually will interpret art in a completely unique way, and how that happens is in my paper is about kind of we grow up and we kind of develop different levels of empathy, and that's kind of the biggest driver in how we interpret art, is being able to empathize with people and what they're portraying, but also on a deeper level what they're feeling.
It was pretty lit, guys. I mean, with your thesis and with, I guess, creating in general, how did you and how do you deal with creative burnout?
Well, I have a very bad relationship with creative burnout. I tend to go through like bursts of intense kind of inspiration and idea creation, and then at some random point I'll just fall into a pit and have no desire to be creative and no ideas. It's something that I'm trying to get through, but I'd like to say I've gotten better at it slowly over time. Something that I've really been trying to do is like routine. Like routine is not only in just being creative, but in general, routine is a very important thing, to kind of set your intention. I've been doing yoga every morning with one of my housemates here, like outside. It's been so great. And that kind
I need
of,
to hop on that.
yeah, I kind of use that yoga as a way to kind of set my intention for the day. Be like, this is the morning. I'm doing this because I'm ready for the day ahead of me. And I think it's something that I'm trying to get into with, like, set my intention, do something specific. This is what I'm doing to set myself up for the rest of the day to be creative. Yeah, I haven't found exactly something that helps me do that. I will eventually, but I mean, highly recommend yoga in the mornings, guys. It does wonders.
I think I'm gonna do that.
Stay tuned for our new podcast, the morning yoga podcast.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, exactly.
You just hear us swearing because of the positions that the yogi is putting us in.
Ouch! It's just 3 hours of ooh, ow,
fuck. Oh.
I didn't even know I could bend like that.
Maybe not the best for an strictly audio thing, but
yeah, we'll figure it out. Every 5 minutes we'll have like punched in, like, it's not what it sounds like.
Get your head out of the gutter.
No, we shoot it like a 20s film. Like 8
a
frames.
Silent film?
Yeah, like 8 frames a second, and we're putting what is it, like Cobra? We're putting the Cobra, and then you just hear it go, oh my back, oh my god, and then
stretching noises. Yeah, so going back to the creating, Ari, I don't know if this ever happens with you, but for me, I'll have a bunch of ideas of things that I want to create in a variety of formats and topics. And I have the end goal in mind and a loose idea of how I need to do it. But once I actually get into the creating part, I either can't find the creativity to do it, or I just find out that it's much harder than I thought. And that almost either turns me off of doing it or just makes me really start to doubt my abilities. And I was wondering if you ever kind of go through that, of just the contrast of ambition and ability.
Yes, absolutely, all the time, literally every day of my life. I don't know, like when I was writing, like, I would love to keep writing poetry, but sometimes it's like I have so many different ideas written down in my phone, like on my notes app, like not even just straight poetry or music, like just any idea I have, and like the ideas just keep growing, and I'm never checking them off because like I want to do these things, and exactly I have this perfect idea of what it's going to look like at the end, but then when you get to the process of actually doing it, it's like you hit a wall, or at least I hit a wall. And I think that can come down to multiple things, be it like something I've thought of and I've kind of struggled with in the past is I have so many creative ideas in my head, but I don't necessarily have the technique or the technical skills to kind of interpret those ideas in a way that in a medium that others can also kind of interpret.
Yeah. Like,
oh, I have this idea for this song that it wants to say this, and I want it to be this type of genre of work. Okay, I'm completely lost on how to get to that endpoint, and I think that just comes with having to pick yourself up and actually try and fail and do these things, and then you learn how these techniques go and what works best for you, and then you can learn to do it.
Yeah. I mean, even with all of our doubts and struggles in the creative process, what's your favorite part of creating?
Definitely collaboration. Nothing
Same.
else brings me any more joy than collaboration. To kind of like put different minds together and to create something is like the best thing ever. Be it like actually creating stuff or just performing in general. I think like to do things alone, at least in like create alone, at least in my experience, can be kind of really like solitary and like confined inside myself, and like I'm already trapped enough inside my own head as it is. Trying to create something alone just makes it way worse. And what I really enjoy about creating with different people is how, you know, my thesis talked about like the unique interpretations of art, and I think that's exactly the same for the actual creation of it. And by putting multiple minds together, you can kind of draw on so many different ideas, and like an idea that I might bring up, somebody else might be like, oh, this makes me think of that, and then it enhances this idea, and then here and there, here and there, here and there. And I do also find it way easier to create in a group setting than alone.
Yeah, definitely. One thing I really enjoyed about A Matter of Time was collaborating with dancers when making the music, because just collaborating with different art forms gives you, it almost helps you experiment with your own medium more because you're getting another perspective. And that's just one thing I really love about the arts. But Jimmy, I was kind of wondering, I mean, you play lacrosse, and I mean, that's collaborative. That's collaborative in its own way. And I mean, it's not like there's like different mediums like art, but do you ever find that collaborating, is there a similar experience in lacrosse, like almost getting different perspectives from different people to help you understand?
Yeah, absolutely. Honestly, especially through sports my whole life, because I'm more of a sports guy first in terms of collaboration than like music. And usually it's kind of like a lot of the time our coaches, especially in college now, will just be like, if I'm missing something, call me out of my BS. Or if I like am saying you're doing something wrong, but you actually did it, I just like saw it at a different angle or whatever, let me know. And it's a lot of accountability for each other, but it's also like hard nose in a way, just more very direct and blunt, and more of a negative attitude towards it, because probably in the same of getting a show ready or getting a performance done, you want to make sure you know the piece and know it as well as possible so there's no mistakes. It's the same way as like lacrosse has plays, but also defense has certain matchups and stuff that you have to watch out for in the offensive plays. So whole like just making sure you're on top of everything, so when the game does come around, it's kind of like muscle memory and there's less thinking. But yeah, huge collaboration, especially defensive wise, because all we do is talk.
Yeah. For the theater people listening, plays in lacrosse is like blocking.
No. It's like basketball. It's more like basketball, I would say. It's like basketball and a mix of hockey.
Something you brought up about something I want to bring up is about like you said collaborating with dancers gives you kind of a new perspective on your own art, but I think something that's really important is cross-discipline stuff. So like playing in a team sport, as opposed and like how that kind of relates to being in a musical ensemble with other people. And I think that's also extremely important. Like if you want to be how am I trying to say this, like if you really want to be the best you can be, I think you have to kind of leave your discipline. You have to go find other things, do other things, and that will give you new life and new perspective on the things you want to do. And I think that's really important, and I think that's one of the reasons why I've kind of expanded to do so many different artistic things, is because I want to know everything, ever, you know?
Yeah, and just to add on like the sports side of it, that's like the same thing. If you're trying to learn 3 different instruments and they're all like brass, you get a general idea of what you got to do, but they all function slightly differently to each other. That's the same like for me. Like in my senior year of high school, I went from football, wrestling to lacrosse, where it was like all like physical sports, but I was a lineman in football, so playing defense in lacrosse was like translation. But then keeping your stamina up and being like constantly physically engaged with someone for a little bit in like wrestling all translate into like the stamina for lacrosse while having to run, and like but also having the physical capabilities that wrestling and alignment and football demand on constantly having to like hit people and being physical, and also talking out loud and communicating with teammates on the fly.
Yeah. Um, my other take on connecting sports and arts, I kind of feel like participating in sports as a kid could make you a much better like member of any ensemble growing up. So like here's an analogy. Like if you don't play sports and you just like you sing solos all your life growing up, and then in like high school, college, you join the chorus, you're probably not going to be the best member of that chorus because you assume, oh, I'm just going to try to sing out. I'm going to, and that doesn't really work on the blending aspect. But I mean, outside of like a chorus, like a theater ensemble, you learn, I mean, can't necessarily be verbal communication on the fly, but like on stage, you can kind of, you can throw vibes across the stage.
Oh, trust me, I have.
And do those vibes land?
Not always, but you just have to brush them off and keep going.
Yeah.
Fair.
I mean, if you have spent enough time in an ensemble, you can probably start to get better at it, which just shows how much collaborating and doing art with other people really enhances the output for both the audience and the individual performing.
Yeah, I also think along with that is like, not only is it to kind of be in all these, to collaborate and be in these collaborative environments with a lot of different people, but I think being with specific people, like collaborating with the same person over and over, and like that's how you can throw a vibe across the theater. If you know that person well enough, you can communicate that effectively, and then they catch the vibe, for lack of a better term.
How to catch the vibe on stage. Sorry.
As important as it is to kind of try and do so many different things with so many different people, it's also equally as important to, you can still do so many different things, but you want to do it with the same people, because that's how you're really going to find the deeper, more complex ideas of communication, is if you know someone well enough and you can dive into those communications.
Yeah.
Like Lion Face.
Exactly like Lion Face. This actually transitions well into my last question about your creative process. And for those that don't know Ari, he was in a lot of ensembles and did a lot of mediums, especially senior year. Could you remind me how many you were in?
Well, I think at some point I've been in every single performance, non-dance performance ensemble on campus. So
yeah, and
what would that be around, like, numbers wise?
Okay, let me count on my fingers. So jazz band, modern band, chamber ensemble, percussion ensemble, chorus. Do I count bass line, Dylan?
that's like a half.
Half. Then I was in Spotlight Drama Club. I was in Main Stage. And Echo. So 8 my last year.
And all of these have performances.
And all of them has performances, and there's points where I have to split my time between 3 different rehearsals in the same night. But it was a blast and I loved it.
Wasn't there like a time in finals where we were talking and then you realized like I have 3 performances, or I have like 5 performances in like this weekend?
I think I had at some point, I think like finals week, I had like 7 or 6 unique performances in that one week.
This is like giving me flashbacks to when Teddy Peters would play baseball and then do like the spring play.
Yeah. Yeah. I don't know how he did that and was like still so good at both.
I have no clue. Insane.
Ari, Teddy was like our high school's Tom Rocco.
Gotcha.
And Jimmy, Tom Rocco, he was
kind of a
on the
divisive character.
No.
But
Divisive
No.
character. Okay.
No, he was a nursing major. He was on the football team and he did theater in college.
Wait, he was on the football team for Endicott and
he didn't do the plays, so there was never any conflict between football and theater. But
no, I know, but that's still in.
Yeah.
But like Endicott as a program is very like they're at least how I see Endicott is very sports heavy first. So
yes.
Yeah,
so that's kind of insane to me that his schedule allowed for him to even like have the energy to be like, I still need to like perform. Like that's great for him because I could never do that.
I don't know how he did it.
That's insane.
But
all right, back to the question, right?
Yeah. Still the question. Out of all of these ensembles, these mediums that you participate in, what's your favorite to perform, and what art form is your favorite to create?
This was a really good question, and I did think about this a lot. But I think for me personally, I can have a favorite in the moment, but everything shifts so much because I love all of them that it's hard. I would say right now, although I'm like really new to it, my favorite thing is theater. Like, there's something really cathartic in it for me. To perform for somebody with your own words and movements is like wonderful. And I also like it because I find it's a lot throughout my whole life. I've found it hard to like speak or find the right words for what I want to say. And performing in theater, the words are already there. So it's like fine. And then I can kind of further interpret these words with my body movements and everything else. So perform is probably theater. I'm excited to do more of it. To create, I think poetry, personally, right now. There's so many different ways to write. You can have however many entendres you want in the same sentence, and I think it's been nice for me to kind of explore how words work for me, because they've never really worked for me before, at least in a really effective way, and it's kind of the easiest medium for me to be able to put things down and others to pick up, if you know what I mean. So
yeah, it's nice to hear that theater's still up there for you, because I remember, you auditioning was a whole chaotic process.
I know.
Ari decided to audition for the musical day of, I believe, or the day before.
No, it was like, here, let me tell the full story. I like, people were saying, like, I was like, I don't want to, because I have always been, and am still very self-conscious of my singing voice. I'm getting through that on my own. I'm going to have to at some point if I want to perform, right? But so like I've always been like, oh, I don't know if I can, like I'd be way too self-conscious about it. And then everybody kept encouraging me, be like, come on, you got it. And I always said no. And then I was sitting at my internship one day. It was the last day of auditions. And I'm just sitting at my desk. I'm like, maybe I should. And this is like 4.5 hours before like the end of auditions. So I'm sorry to my internship, but I spent the next 2.5 hours not doing any work at my internship and just searching up songs for me that would be good for me to perform. And so I picked, what was it called? It All Fades Away from the Bridges of Madison County. And I found it. I started to listen to it on repeat at work. And then I got home, and then I had an hour and a half to memorize the 1-minute cut. And I did it. And I was proud of myself.
Wow.
But I remember it was like the first week of rehearsals, and we were just in like music rehearsal.
Mm-hmm.
And you said to me something like, oh my God, like theater. I absolutely love theater.
Yeah.
I can't wait to do more of it. And I'm like, Okay, cool. I mean, this is basically like chorus, so like let's see how he stills and
Yeah.
enjoys it. I'm not like hating on theater, like oh he's gonna hate it once we actually do acting, but I was like, I wonder if this is gonna change once like all the acting and the dancing starts in. But I think that only like confirmed it for
Oh
me.
yeah, for sure. And then on top of that, I think the Spotlight Drama Club Play Festival was fun.
Oh, yeah.
like I had three different roles. Two of them were small, and then there was Andre. But I think it was nice to get kind of that full spectrum of different acting roles, because I'm like this in main stage and Natasha Pierre. I'm like this stoic, very stoic, like the only pure one in the whole show. I'm like, I can't forgive this woman for doing everything that Natasha did. And then on the other side, I'm playing this old man who has to tell his wife of 50 years that he's dying of an illness. And then on the other hand of that, I'm this spunky old New York grandma,
My grandmother.
Dylan's grandmother, Charlie,
Yeah.
you know?
Yeah.
So it was nice to get all of the different kind of ends.
The bits as we entered are like some
They're
of my
so
favorite
good.
parts of last semester.
Yeah.
Like, while it's supposed to be a chaotic entrance, and like while we're walking in, like, wait, what is it? You're like, you gotta get off that phone.
Oh,
you gotta
yeah.
get a job one day.
You gotta get a job. You know, back in my day, I didn't have to use a phone to pick up men. Like,
And then I was like, I don't need a job. I'll just get your inheritance when you die or something. Like,
Oh my
yeah.
god.
yeah. Have you been auditioning for any new shows?
So, I haven't really been able to, because I've been stuck in northern Vermont this summer. So I haven't really had time to go down. Like, we've been running shows. For context, I'm working as a sound assistant at Dorset Theater Festival for the summer, for their season. And I just haven't had time to like go down and actually do them. But I actually submitted a virtual audition earlier today, they're doing an open call for the non-equity national tour of Beetlejuice, which is
Wow.
pretty
Oh.
crazy. So I'm not expecting anything, but I needed to get that process through. I'm also going to
At
be
least you
doing
get
an
the experience.
yeah, exactly. I'm also going to be auditioning for a play at a community theater in Biddeford, Maine, the play's called Death Trap. It's a wonderfully meta black comedy. So hopefully but by the time this episode comes out, I can be like, congratulations to me, knock on wood. But so yeah, that's and
I'll
I'm
punch that in.
yeah, great. we can do an overdub, like, on August 25th, 2025, Ari Stillman accepted this role.
Congratulations, Ari.
Yay!
But so, and then and come November, I'm planning on being in the North Shore / Boston area. So hopefully I'm gonna be continuously auditioning for things. So yeah.
Yeah. Nice.
Nice. And now to move on into some of our topics that we've been listening to.
Yes.
Recently, Stevie Wonder, and I'd like to know, guess your overall opinions of him, and if you have any notable favorites or least favorites of his.
Yeah, I mean, I would have to say, so there was a time when I would give people a Mount Rushmore of musicians. He was on there. He still would be if I still had it. I've stopped the Mount Rushmore because there's more than 4 musicians I think are the best of all time.
Doesn't
but-
really land at parties anymore either.
No.
Yeah,
it
my
doesn't.
top 25 doesn't land anymore.
Yeah. But I absolutely adore his music. He's one of the greatest musicians of all time, in my opinion. I think he's
that's
such a...
fair.
Sorry, yeah. What?
I think that's totally valid.
Wonderful. I think he has been such kind of a powerful agent for change in the civil rights movement, and his music definitely reflects that. And I think one of the greatest things that music can do is to send a message, protest music and all that. Absolutely love it. I would say I chose a favorite album. It would be Intervisions from 1973.
Oh yeah.
My favorite songs off there are probably, I think, Living for the City is iconic. The whole, in the middle of the song, it's just a cutout to this scene where this black man gets thrown in prison for jaywalking. I think it's very powerful. I think All in Love is Fair is...
That's my favorite.
Oh, I think Too High
so good.
is also so good. But like, I think in Intervisions there's so many different like types of music. Like you have like the typical Stevie soul, but then like you have Visions, which is this more like jazz kind of vibe with like classical guitar. It's like so good. I think Stevie's run from Talking Book 1972 to Songs in the Key of Life 1976 may be the most consistent run of album releases we've ever had. They're just banger after banger after banger after banger.
We reviewed all 4 of those, and I believe my average was like an 8.5.
Yeah.
Oh, my average was like probably the same thing. In my 8s, I think how I realize how I rate my 8s is basically like no skips. Every song is enjoyable.
This reminded me. So, with my rating scale, like I talked about this, I think, in the first episode, where like, because I go song by song, and I say like 9 and 10, they'd have to like blow me away, or like my life is changed by this song. And I feel like with Stevie, it's not like, I mean, obviously he has mind-blowing songs and everything, but I feel like when I would listen through an album, it's not like I was like wowed the entire time. It's just, I feel like he does it so effortlessly. I mean, I'm rating it highly, but I almost like underrate how effortlessly he's making like some of the greatest music ever.
He's so consistent.
Jimmy and I we had the consensus. I think this is my favorite Stevie Wonder song, and maybe I think I'm far enough removed from the review to say that this might be one of my favorite songs of all time, is They Won't Go When I Go from Fulfillingness's first finale. Oh my god.
Oh my
That's a crazy take.
So what I think the funniest
No, I mean like that's like, I never would have thought I would hear you say greatest songs of all time.
The funniest thing about that is that I don't have a single 10 rated in any of my songs, any albums. And I've been doing this with Dylan since January, like week 1 January. They Won't Go When I Go is my only 10.
Wow.
It's
that
so
beats
good.
That literally beats Stairway to Heaven.
Yeah. Which is one of our like first,
and Battle of Evermore. Two of my like I started off this with like 2 bangers, and I'm like, okay, I guess I'm never seeing this for like a while. And then Stevie Wonder just brings a perfect song.
There's so many things I could talk about. Like, I think the motif of just the "They won't go when I go" at the end of like every line, and how that like he kind of adds to it like a little bit, and then the whole I think I'll call it the bridge section, and then when he gets into the he will give, I'm like, oh damn. Like everything about that song, and the fact that I really appreciate that he starts it with just like a 1-minute little piano intro.
Oh yeah.
I just, every time I'm like, I want to listen to Stevie Wonder, if I have to put on one song, I will put that one on anytime.
Yeah, that is I'm also a sucker though for like anything with emotional power behind it, or if I can hear like true emotions coming out, that basically becomes a guaranteed like 9 for me almost. If the whole song is complete, of course. I'm not hearing Dookie production and then going like, oh my, is Bruno Mars singing that angelic song? Like,
It's almost like emotional expression in music makes the audience more emotionally attached.
exactly.
Hold on,
Exactly.
Did somebody write a thesis about this?
Oh!
Say that again. And then just like the title card for Ari's thesis pops up.
It's long, and my thesis title is too long.
But that is how I always, like, looking back at how I rate songs, I always, especially songs from, like, older, when I listen to them, and I'm like, oh, I see why I like this, and then I go to my rating, and I go, that makes sense. Like, an high rating, like a weekly favorite or a top 3 sort of thing, consistently is usually emotional songs, unless it's, like, Earth, Wind, Fire, where I'm just like, oh, I'm just boogieing to each song.
Can I drop a little hot take about Stevie Wonder quick, guys?
Yeah.
You didn't know he was blind?
I was expecting that. I was expecting that.
No, I always make the joke about like on Golden Lady when he starts with looking in your eyes. What a liar. But okay. My least favorite song on Talking Book is Superstition.
Honestly, I don't think that's a hot take.
I'm not it's not a bad song, but I'm not the biggest fan of it.
It's definitely not a bad song, but like there's everything else is better.
Yeah. Okay, my thing about Superstition is, okay, I'm also kind of superstitious. But I feel like he's taken like, do you really have to be scared of a 13-month-old baby, dude? It's like
Hey, I don't know.
But,
maybe he had some trauma.
Yikes. It's like do you know that old Disney movie The Rescuers?
Yes.
Yes.
There are 13 steps on this ladder. It's like, I think the two of them would get along really well.
What's your favorite song on Talking Book?
I had Maybe You Baby.
I think it was You and I.
That's my favorite. Oh, it's brilliant.
It's so
like,
pretty.
Like, I never, like, Theremin? Are you kidding me, Stevie?
Yeah.
I don't think it's Theremin, but it sounds like one.
That's got to be one of the most, like, goated love song albums of all time. Like, almost every song is a love song.
You Are the Sunshine of My Life is so good.
Come on.
Blame It on the Sun, Looking for Another Pure Love. It is a love album.
Yeah. I would say that my personal favorite, if I would rank this like goated run, I would say Fulfillingness's first finale, Inner Visions, Songs in the Key of Life, Talking Book. I think what brings Songs in the Key of Life for me down a bit is that, I mean, it is a very long album, and I think it's like maybe the middle of the second half that kind of has less enjoyable songs for me, or it also could just be that I'm starting to get a little tired after after like an hour and a half, but yeah.
I think my favorite song in Songs in Key of Life is Love's in Need of Love Today. I think it's a beautiful song.
Intro.
Yeah.
That was one thing about Stevie that I noticed. I feel like every intro song was, like, really good. Like, I know intros is like, well, here's the album. You gotta start off with something at least, like, eye-catching to make them keep listening. But, like, it felt like albums today don't usually have that strong of an intro consistently with certain artists. At least for what I listen to.
I feel like that's an outcome of streaming. In how now today it's not, you don't buy an album and listen to the album. That's how you first listen. It's this song blows up on TikTok and here's the rest of the album. Like your intro song isn't important when everybody can just click randomly on any random song they want ever.
Yeah, so and also how a lot of artists at least that I see will do like 3 or 4 single drops before the actual album comes out,
Exactly.
and you're like, I've already listened to like 30% of this album, and it's not even released yet.
Yeah, one of my favorite albums of all time is the Silk Sonic album, and like one of my only gripes with that album is the fact that like I think almost half the album was like dropped as singles.
Oh man.
Yeah.
And I mean, like that album doesn't have much of a narrative besides the middle arc of like after last night, smoking out the window, and then put on a smile. Like most of it is just straight up really good music. But with a lot of releases that either have like a really concrete theme or like concept albums, I feel like you can't do that many singles, or you have to be really really particular about which ones you choose to do. But I also agree about the I wish we could get back to really good intros.
I honestly, I don't think we'll ever get there. I think the industry today is like it's just all about money now. Like obviously not for some big artists, like some artists, but I feel like in the mainstream it's all just like lack of a better term, TikTok music, social media. Like you want these little snippets that are really good and are gonna do well for social media, and that's it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, recently though, at least for me, it's been a pretty hot streak for like good intros with Clips's album, with even Tyler's, like Big Poe, even though that kind of came out, or everyone kind of heard the snippets before, like just before he dropped everything. 1995 off of Alfredo 2, I thought was really solid. And then You Ugly off of JID's new project, I thought were all at least maybe not similar quality, but like just below what Stevie Wonder did, in my opinion, of just like great way to open an album. And it's a great, just going like, oh, from those songs you just go, I'm expecting this to be an amazing album, and all these albums that I just mentioned are 8s or better. I feel like a good intro really makes a good project.
Yeah, but what I notice about those artists that you mention is that they either came up in a time when an album experience was more important, or in a case of like Tyler and JID, like they're students of the game. And I mean, Tyler has been a fan of Clips and Pharrell his whole life. That's like pretty much half of all he talks about. And then JID has the Forever Story, which is like an amazing concept album. So like these artists are ones that care about an album experience, and they know the importance of, for the people that do care about the whole experience, you have to make a strong impression right off the gate to warrant your listeners continuing into this world that you've created.
Yeah.
Something I want, like I think Tyler with Don't Tap the Glass, I think it's like the whole idea behind the album about like not being afraid to move, don't tap the glass. I think it's genius. I think we need more of it. Like the dancing parties he held where like phones weren't allowed. I think that's going to be the future for at least the kind of true, how am I trying to word this? Like for true believers in music, I feel like there's going to continue to be everything else, like TikTok clips, like I want to make money, but I think like the real kind of believers in music is a way for change. It's got to be that kind of drop everything, put down the phone, enjoy it for what it is and nothing else.
Yeah. In this rollout, like post-release, I also love the narrative he's been promoting to that, like for creatives, like you can just release the music if you want to. I know this kind of goes against our idea of like curating albums, but like on like a song by song basis, like you don't have to obsess
Yeah.
about things until they're like overdone. Like if you want to make a concept record, if you reach a point where you're like, oh, I think this concept is getting across and everything, you can drop that without having to spend 5 years perfecting it. Because with that, I mean, if you're releasing more, there's a higher chance that we're going to start getting a higher quantity of music that has care put into it, and maybe chip away at some of the TikTok music
Yeah.
that we've been calling it.
Definitely. And
I'll get off my soapbox.
and to move on to what you're listening to, Ari, what are some of your favorite artists, and do you have any album recommendations for us?
I find myself listening to everything all the time. I never stick to like one genre or one type or one artist. I actually have 12 album recommendations from across all musical genres.
Yes!
For you.
Oh my god.
That's like 3 months of listens.
I know. So Stevie Wonder, Inner Visions. Like I have an artist and I have one album that I've recommended from them. An artist I really enjoy. Stevie Wonder, gotta be Inner Visions from 1973. So I kind of jump around here. We're going to movies and we're going John Williams.
Oh, okay.
The soundtrack to E.T. from 1982. I think that's his best. In my opinion. But there's so much there in John Williams. Oh my god.
Oh my, John Williams is the one composer I will gladly listen to his entire discography.
Well, good luck, because there's a lot.
Oh, I know.
We're going to theater. I think Andrew Lloyd Webber, for me. Sunset Boulevard. Ugh. I haven't listened to the original recording, but I have listened to the new Broadway one from 2024, and I absolutely adore it. I love it. It's so good. We're going to jazz. Miles Davis. One of the greatest to ever do it.
Yes.
I'm going to go with the stereotypical answer and say Kind of Blue from 1959, excuse me. Sticking with jazz, we're going Chet Baker, another great trumpeter. My favorite album of his is Chet Baker Sings from 1956. I just think his trumpet playing, his voice sounds exactly like his trumpet playing. And that is the biggest compliment. It's so sincere and tender. I think it's beautiful. We're going to folk. We're going to Adrian Lenker. I think one of the greatest songwriters of our generation.
Yes! Yes! Oh my god, yes!
I obsess over their music. I have learned so much of their music on my own very guitar. I think for the most... I love so much of their music, but I think I'm going to have to go Bright Future from 2024. And then I also have Big Thief, which is the band Adrian Lenker is part of. My favorite album is Dragon New Warm Mountain, I Believe in You from 2022. So if you love folk, I can't obsess more enough.
I couldn't recommend Adrian Lenker or Big Thief enough. My buddy Liam put me on years ago, and I love their music. Like, love it. I don't listen to enough of it.
I think they just released a new album that I have yet to listen to. Oh, it's upcoming. It releases... Oh, they have a single from the album, but the album releases on September 5th, so I will be day one listening.
Absolutely.
Okay, we're going classical.
Oh.
Guys, you have to listen to more classical. I'm begging you. It's so... You should do a weekly listen classical.
I've been listening to opera.
I love opera, but for classical, I'm going... Both of my suggestions are romantic composers. Mahler's Third Symphony in D minor, for sure. I think one of the best pieces of music ever created. And then I also have Debussy's Suite Bergamasque, but specifically the recordings done by Francois Joël Tillier. I think those are brilliant. There's so much emotion in his playing. Okay, we're going to rap because I have to. And I have two. First one, MF Doom, greatest lyricist. Mad Villainy from 2004. And then Tribe Called Quest.
Yes.
The Low End Theory from 1991. It's another good choice.
Absolutely.
And then I just added this. I'm going to some video game soundtrack, because that is such a large part of my own life, and I think there is a lot to learn. The game is Ori and the Will of the Wisps.
Oh, yes.
Amazing game.
I think I've heard of it.
Yes.
It's an amazing game. The score is done by Gareth Coker. It's from 2020. The game is fun. It's a Metroidvania. I love the game, but the music is just. I wrote a paper on it in high school on the music about, the use of leitmotif in this specific soundtrack is just heartbreaking, and I think they do locational music so well, and that would be one I definitely recommend. So those are my 12 albums.
Wow. Another video game soundtrack that I think you should listen to if you haven't already, Ari, is God of War Ragnarok.
Dude, okay. That was second place. I think.
Oh my God.
I just finished that game
it's so
this
good.
summer, and it the ending brought me to tears.
Yes. Yeah.
The music.
Hosier in the end credits of Blood on the Snow is I think one of the only reasons why I was so nice to Hosier in the ratings, but we killed him in the podcast episode. But
sorry guys.
Oh my God, such Blood on the Snow is one of the biggest surprises for me, and it's not like I gave it my own personal rating of a 9.5 or anything crazy, but it was was not expecting. I don't know, just such a song with so much of the Nordic of humming and singing that's in it, where you're really not listening to it because you're just it's more like sounds, you're not understanding every word because it's in a whole different language. But then just having Blood on the Snow while the end credits roll and how that game ends, you're wow.
Damn. Now I need to finish. I never finished the game.
What?
I still. Now
you have to.
I know this is encouraging me.
This is something I wanted to bring up about video games, which I it's gonna be a hot take, but I think video games may be the greatest medium of art.
Yes.
And I'm gonna I know I might not need to defend myself against Jimmy, but I may against Dylan, and I definitely need to against anybody who listens to this. But I think it is.
I'll let you cook.
It is the perfect combination. It is the ultimate combination of every other art form.
That's
you
what I was
have
gonna say.
music. You have music. You have storytelling. You have acting. You have art. You have there's this very specific word that I wrote about in my thesis that I can't think of, but it's the art of play. The different things that we do when we actually interact with things, and that's very much an art form. Film, there's filmography. I just think it's perfect.
And the collaborative aspect of both
there's so
playing
many
and creating the game.
There's so many different different mediums that really come together to truly create masterpieces, and I think something that ascends it even more is how immersive they can be when you're telling this story. You're not experiencing someone tell the story, you are telling the story.
Yes.
Yeah, and I think it also encourages the interdisciplinary conversation, because people could be oh, I love the way the game is lit, and then the other person's oh yeah, but have you what do you think about the soundtrack and everything, and how people that go to the game or appreciate the game for one aspect, they can learn more or have a dialogue about the other aspects.
I think one of the most perfect games in terms of getting at least good or great quality in all of those aspects you mentioned, in my opinion, is Dark Souls / like Elden Ring / Bloodborne. Because I thought because of how
wagging his finger.
Yeah, there's I think in Dark Souls 3 there's like a couple of certain characters that have followed you throughout the 3 games, and
okay, I want to talk about this after you.
There's more and more story that builds up to it, and I'm sorry for not remembering a character's name, but like the guy that you face with the onion armor, the face Norm. Sigurd. Say that again, sorry?
Sigurd of Katarina.
Yeah, Sigurd. I always forget his name.
Quite.
But that whole story of like, you have to do a couple of side missions. The game doesn't tell you. It's so like, it tries to like very lightly lead you where you're supposed to be going, but it also offers a lot of just like, do whatever you want. And when that happens, you can do a couple of like side missions for Sigurd, and then when you go to the boss battle for Yorm the Giant, he can spawn there as a summon sign, and then when you go into the fight, he's already taught. He's like Yorm, old friend, and all this lore, and then after it with like the great sword that you use to take down Yorm, and like his armor is all telling a story, and every single piece, every item of every single game has a bit of lore that all adds up to the most like, all I can think of is like the Scorsese fucking just like absolute cinema every game because of how intricate the lore is. I think the only thing that matches lore wise in like you having to dig deep for everything, funny enough, this could be a hot take by itself, is Pokemon. Because the item descriptions of Pokemon, what they use to evolve, certain Pokeballs, how they developed in like legendaries by themselves, introducing Arceus is whole other sets of like lore across generation and generation. In Bloodborne, Elden Ring, Dark Souls, all do that, but for a much more mature audience that can take in so much more detail and so much more info. It is one of the most fun and annoying games of all time, but goddamn, you can see every blood, sweat, and tear of detail that goes into those games, and you know the people that make those appreciate them and are working there for their own dreams and not for someone else's.
I just have to say wow, because I could not agree more. I am obsessed with with the Souls games. I've platinumed all of them except Bloodborne because I can't play it, and Dark Souls. I just have a little bit more grinding of Dark Souls 2, which sucks.
Dark Souls 2 is brutal.
I think I love Dark Souls 2 for what it is, and that's it. But I think FromSoft, which is the developer of the Souls games, is the best in the game at immersive storytelling, because like everybody hates an exposition dump.
Yep.
There's no such thing in these games. They drop you into this world, and you have to. You don't even have to interact with the story at all. You can just go and like kill things, and go and progress, and not interact with what's happening in the world, why you're doing this, the people around you. But you can. It's completely at your own volition, and the fact that you have to seek it out makes it a true immersive story for me. And I think along with that is the art of play of it, is how difficult these games are, contributes to the story. Like, and when you say, wait, let me finish this other thought. Like, when they drop you in this world and you face these almost insurmountable odds, and through practice and through just like, for lack of better term, sometimes throwing yourselves at a goddamn wall, you triumph over these really difficult odds, and you feel that's like true triumph, and it makes you want to go further and figure out all this stuff. And And I think something you brought up about like Sigurd and the characters that follow you across the story, I think they've done and it's very interesting how that works, because the worlds aren't, all three games, the Dark Souls games, aren't exactly, they're never stated to be in the same universe, but there's hints that they may be. And like another one of the characters that comes across through all the games is Patches. And Patches even goes to Elden Ring, but I think that was more of like a fan service thing.
Yeah.
But like, so these characters who, if you played the previous games, you're like, oh, I know this person, I know what they're about, and it kind of enhanced and what you brought up about how every item in the game has its own lore tab. Oh, I love that so much.
And it adds, like, I could rant about this for literally hours, but I'm gonna try to make this like short. But stuff like I have sunk hours into videos of like the Four Knights of Lothric or of Gwyn, where you have like Artorias, the double matchup in the first one. I keep forgetting names.
Ornstein and Smo.
Yes. Oh my, how did I forget that? And then there's a last one that I always forget. Whatever. You know what? I need to get past this because I could get stuck here for hours. But it's like the Tales, like you beat these guys, but like Artorias was, quick lore dump, was the guarder of like basically the darkness. Basically big evil darkness. And he was guarding he's guarding it. And he was basically the last line and kind of like the ultimate protector of peace in a way. In terms of like, no one else could get to that besides him, but it finally overtook him. So in one of the DLCs of Dark Souls 1, you have to face this once glory like knight who was one of the like a sign of a hero, was who everyone wanted to be, being sunk down to like what he tried to defeat, but it overtook him. Like even that, just for a DLC in an already like huge lore world, is so good.
And I want to leap on top of that, and they even like continued his story in Dark Souls 3 with the Abyss Watchers. Is like,
yes,
you have this you have this sect of a legion, essentially. You have this legion who fight against the darkness in the abyss that Artorias fought against, and they model themselves after. They all like kind of wear the armor he would have worn. They have his sword, and then when you find it in Dark Souls 3, they're at this point of tragedy where the abyss has overtaken them essentially, and they keep rising from the dead to kill each other because the abyss has infected these members of this legion, and it's this eternal battle of them killing each other, and it mimics the tragedy of Artorias perfectly.
And just to top it off,
we're overtaking this.
Oh,
this
I know.
This
This is
podcast.
awful.
No,
we're
gonna start a video game podcast.
But I just have to. The second I brought it up, I'm like, God, I can't wait to unload all of the lore. But they also take moves from Artorias, because Artorias has a front flip sword like bash down, and the Abyss Watchers, slightly different animation, of course, but it's the same idea, and it just goes into like, even their move sets are so intertwined in how they've been taken by the Abyss. Cinema.
Truly brilliant.
Yeah, and
I just wanted to say, so I've never played a Souls game.
Oh.
Tragedy, by the way.
Yeah.
Shame. I played like half an hour of Elden Ring at my friend's house, and I was so bad.
Well, but listen. That's the whole point. You're terrible, and you just gotta get good.
Yeah. No, so my kind of looking at this from an outside perspective, one thing I notice is just this honestly almost continues to confirm Ari's take that video games are the best form of art, because you can go to them, I mean, depending on the game, but you can go to them for like kind of whatever reason fits your personality. Because it's like, if you are interested in the art and the lore and all of the effort that goes into that, you can, in a game like Elden Ring, you can spend so much time reading all the things. But if you just want to like throw your head at a wall and like spend 1,500 tries on a boss, you can also do that. And you can, I mean, those are like two extremes, but you can do any level in between of that.
Yeah.
And just, yeah, shout out video games.
Shout out video games, man.
Shout out video games.
Next week is the Weekly Gamer
I would
Honestly.
like to bring up another point about video games being the best form of art, is that it's so variable. Like, you have these Souls games, which are, first of all, they're third person, action RPGs. But you can have a visual novel that's a video game. You can have a first person shooter, which, yeah, you can have a first person shooter. You can have a tabletop D&D game like Baldur's Gate 3. You can have
Uno.
a racing game. You can have a
I was
card
just gonna
game
say
like
Uno.
You can have, I don't know, fucking Candy Crush. Like, there's something for everybody out there.
Yeah. Oh.
Shout
it's-
out video games.
Shout out video games.
Nintendo
Shout out
as a
music.
whole, if you want some nice lo-fi jazz, Nintendo in Mario Kart has amazing music. And to finally move on from video games that we took like 20 minutes of.
I think it was more
Let's-
like half an hour.
Yeah, I'm just trying to save my own ass.
Yeah.
And but were there any reviews from us that you just hated?
So I thought about this question, and I don't think I'm allowed to hate any of your reviews because they're your reviews and they're not mine.
So that means you hate our
Boo!
reviews.
Boo!
Okay,
That's
okay,
a lame
okay.
take. This is the
I
internet
know,
hate me.
I know you. This is not the answer you wanted, but I think it's your experience of this music. It's your review. You're just telling people what you thought of it. Who am I to get mad if I thought you didn't like this one song that I really liked? That's your opinion, which is a larger issue in literally everything we do today.
Yeah.
I just think let reviews be what they are, which are a personal review
Yeah.
and not
Yeah.
a slight against my own character if you didn't like that one song in Mad Villainy. Like, how could you? Like,
Yeah.
Well, outside of just like, oh, your takes are awful, where can you think of any off the top of your head that like you just disagreed with? Because I remember when Jimmy and I did the hot takes portion of episode 2, we were expecting to be like, yo, what is wrong with you? Are you stupid? Blah, blah, blah. And then it ended up just turning into maybe like 10 minutes where we would be like, so why did you think that? And then the other person would explain it and we'd be like, okay, I'm still a little sad about it, you giving introvert a 4 from sometimes I might be introvert.
Oh my god, that reaction was so funny.
I feel like, I mean, I'm not perfect when I say this, because I've also been like, when I see those like the YouTube reviewers and then these like 12-year-olds dropping takes, I'm like, oh my god, what is wrong with you? But like, I think people need to be more open to hearing the context and like give people a chance to explain why they may like or not like certain songs, and entertain more of a dialogue around getting an understanding behind people's opinions, because I think that leads to, like, even outside of music, that leads to much more genuine connections. And if there is going to be discourse, I think that this allows maybe a more quote unquote justified, because if you're just going in like blind, like if I'm like, Jimmy's a moron for giving an introvert a 4, I'm not thinking that. But like, especially once you explain like, oh, I really like this instrumental, but I'm not a fan of Little Sim's delivery. Like, I don't have to hate, like, I wasn't going to hate you from the start because I like to think I'm a pretty rational person, but like, I have more information to base this off of.
Have you rated Chromacopia?
I did. I gave it like an 8.5. I'd imagine
Really?
it's a little higher, but given
Okay.
that we're doing 2 reviews a week on top of like everything else we're doing, it's a lot of times it's like a first or second listen opinion.
What was your opinion? How do you think Don't Tap the Glass compares to Chromacopia?
Okay, I'm not saying this just because Tyler also said it. I'm not saying this just because Tyler also said it, but I think that those albums are like not the best to compare because they're doing such different things.
That's true.
But I mean, personally, I like Chromacopia a lot more, but at the same time, I generally enjoy, like Jimmy said, like the two of us are very similar in the fact that I really like emotion. I generally like hearing the emotion from the artist, maybe because I have kind of a problem with parasocial relationships to artists I enjoy. But like, I think that both of them are very high quality. I think that I get so much more from hearing him talk about like growing up, real problems in his life, like having a kid and maybe not being ready, like my mother's growing old, and like learning that my father that I've been dissing through like my whole music career is like actually did want to be part of my life and everything like that. And I think that I get much more from that, and I have much more of a connection to that.
Yeah.
Because that's generally what I'm going for. Also, this is like unrelated, but while I'm thinking of it, I hear all of these takes like, oh, when Chromacopia was like Tyler's Mr. Morale, so like Don't Tap the Glass is like his GNX.
Yeah.
And I kind of thought that before the album dropped, and now I think if you were to make a comparison, I think a much more apt comparison is like comparing Tyler's run to what Denzel Curry did from Melt My Eyes, See Your Future to Kings of the Mischievous South, where Mr. Morale and Chromacopia, they're both getting extremely personal and dark in some places, but I think that Kendrick is addressing like universal problems, like the cycles of abuse and like how this cycle affects people and leads them into continuing to repeat it. And I'm not diminishing what Tyler's doing, but I think it's not as it's much more personal, obviously.
Yeah,
like,
it's way more inward than like Tyler's. It's coming from a very vulnerable and like inward point, whereas Kendrick is also vulnerable, but more of like an outward angle.
And yeah, Denzel Curry is kind of similar with that inward thing. And with GNX, like GNX, yeah, that is kind of like more bangers after, but there is still sort of more, there's more conceptual songs like Reincarnated and Gloria, and when it's not that, it's kind of like a love letter to LA. But Tyler's, I mean, the very nature of the album was like, I was burnt out on tour, I want to make stuff that's fun. And I think that Denzel Curry's album was the same thing. Like I think the song was Black Flag Freestyle. He says something like, I used to have the smart talk, but now I had to dumb it down. Like, that's not related to your original question, but it was just a take that I've had that.
No, I like where this went.
I think that, I mean, every artist is unique, and unless they're like, their whole thing is about like ripping off another artist. But so I think that, I mean, I'd still compare artists or albums, but I think in general, my main thesis, I guess, going against all the comparing I did, is let artists leave them alone, and let them exist in their own bubbles.
Yeah, it kind of goes back to what we were saying earlier about like to experience an album as it is an album. In like, sure, it might have similarities to a different album, but an album is in essence, it's what it is. It's like these collection of songs. It's not these collections of songs plus all these other ones that you've already listened to. It's these collections.
Yeah, there's a reason that the album structure was created for a purpose. It was to make basically audio storytelling before people found out you could do audiobooks for the masses in a way. And of course music has been around ages and ages. But I think basically creating your own little stories within it, even if that means like going back to Tyler, if don't tap the glass is just put your phone down after you start playing the album and then just enjoy it for 20-30 minutes and then just go back. Because sometimes music is an escape, and then sometimes people look at it as learning about something else. And for Chromacopia, that could be someone's way of Tyler using his life as like a deep dive to get to know him, possibly. Or that could just be one interpretation. But it could go all ways.
Yeah, I mean, the very point of music from like the very beginning was just sharing ideas.
Yeah, an expression.
And I think an album is just like the modern take on sharing ideas. And I mean, as society is changing towards, I guess, a more streaming, this might get a little conspiratorial, but it's like it almost, I wonder if it almost indicates kind of a shift towards a more selfish society that isn't as open to consuming people's full ideas.
We've been there a while.
Yeah.
We've been there.
Yeah, I guess focus the little clips of the songs are like just that is just the let me take the one part of this artist that like benefits or relates to me or like confirms how I feel and ignore the rest. And I think that like that's why when I talk about like if an album has skips, I'm never really saying that like when I listen to an album I don't skip it, because I think first of all it's really important to hear the full body of work in case I do miss something redeeming. But also, let's say I'm going to with the Chromacopia example. Sorry to our listeners that may have not heard this because we've been talking about it a lot. But let's say I go to Chromacopia for songs like Tomorrow, Like Him, because I'm interested in the family aspect. And if I only listen to those songs, like, yes, I would take those away. But if you listen to the whole album, you hear about this stuff about like an unplanned pregnancy or I Killed You, which is kind of about like a black man's relationship to his hair and how that relates to black culture in general. And because even though I went to this album for one thing, I'm still learning about different things that I'm a white kid from the suburbs. Like
yeah.
I don't know anything about it, and I gain the knowledge and that perspective, even though it's just like I like this artist's music.
Yeah, I think what you were saying before, like choosing the little clip, it's not I'm gonna listen to this artist's music and see what he's telling me. It's how does this music serve me? And I feel like people go try and listen to music in like how does this serve me, kind of at the most basic level. What tiny clip can I put in my social media to get people to watch it? But I think, and I don't think how it serves you is necessarily a bad thing. Like an example of this would be like, I listen to this type of music when I feel sad. That's serving you in a very positive way. But I think it can quickly get to a more toxic level when it comes to social media.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Trying to be like comparing albums, trying to kind of incite reactions like, oh, I hated this, when it's like,
Fantano.
do you understand what it is? Yeah.
Like his entire culture that he's built around his channel has been basically just comparing and contrast against other albums without maybe specifically saying it, unless he's talking about like Kendrick and going from one album to the other and comparing it to that. But his whole community is based off of like his infamous when he gave Mac Miller's Swimming a 3, and everyone's like, what album of the year, and then years and years after that, he did a
redux.
Yeah, to it and updated the rating, and it's like, yeah, you had a bad rating, but if that was like, I understand people's opinions change over the years, but your whole thing was listen to one thing and move on.
Yeah, I've got like I'm a fan of Anthony Fantano, but I kind of don't like the culture that his fan base has almost whether intentional or not kind of established.
It's like cult-like.
Yeah, and like I will definitely disagree with some of his takes, but like we should let him have the takes.
Yeah.
Take a review as it is, right?
Mm-hmm.
Exactly.
Review.
And some of the jokes are kind of funny with like when Let God Sort 'Em Out got a 10, and then it's like, oh great, now I have like one more album I can listen, now I have 9 albums I'm allowed to listen to and stuff like that. Like they're funny jokes, but it almost kind of when I was talking about the parasocial thing, it kind of, whether joking or not, it's like, oh, I'm gonna base whether I listen to this album or don't listen to this album based off of this one person's review.
Yeah, like he's just a dude. He's just a guy.
He's one of us,
dude. He's just a random dude who likes to give his music takes, and people regard him. And this is a larger issue, like not just in this very specific example, but like I feel like most every single review ever published, it's like, especially in social media and like on YouTube and stuff, it's like people regard these people as like deities who know all and have only good, like they're right. It's like they're just people. And I want, like, something you brought up about what was it? Oh my god, I lost it. Keep going. I'll think.
One thing I was gonna say is like with Fantano, at least, like, I mean, I would say the general point of reviews is like, oh, if I'm giving this a positive review, I'm like putting this out in the hopes that you listen to it and get what you want. But like with Fantano, when it's like, oh, I really disagree with the perspective he gives on rap. It's like, even though he thinks it's a good thing, I might not listen to it just because of the past opinions he's had. Yeah.
I mean, like, one of the things that I've disagreed with him is like death grips. Like, I do not understand that in the absolute slightest, and he praises it like it's the next coming of music, and I have never understood that. I remember I listened to that album and I was just like kind of just scratching my head through it and just being like, what? I'm like, I understand that's his own opinion, but it's always so funny. I bet there's people that are listening to that album right now just because he gave it a 10 and they're like, I don't see it, but he saw it, so.
But at the same time, because you disagree with that, you're not like, this dude like doesn't get music, I'm not gonna like listen or trust his reviews.
Good point.
Because like, I mean, I haven't really listened to like most of the albums he's given a 10, but when I hear that he gives these albums like a high rating, like I'll keep that on my radar, like, oh, that's maybe worth trying because I may find something to learn about or connect with.
Very fair.
I remembered what I was gonna say. You were talking about how like people make the jokes about this might be a little off topic, but I don't care.
We've been off topic.
Yeah, we have. Yeah. Like, about people making the jokes like, oh, now I have another album that I'm allowed to listen to because he gave it a 10. Something I've noticed is, like, we all kind of had, like, we lived before social media, right? We were able to have opinions on things before the social media, but then something I've noticed that kids growing up and having this access to the internet and, for lack of a better term, like maybe not having opinions, informing opinions on their own, seeing like these jokes and seeing these, I don't know, people just discuss things online. It's like maybe some kid has never thought about listening to music on his own and he sees somebody say, oh, now I have another album I can listen to. What does it do to this kid's brain chemistry? Is he like, do I have, is this a rule where I can only listen to this certain amount of albums that people give? Like, that's something I've noticed in not just music and like almost everything. Is like people can make such specific and stupid and arguably very like bad in a inappropriate way jokes, and some kid who has never interacted with anything that the person is giving no context for is seeing that video, and what does that do to the way they think? This is extremely off topic.
No,
but it's all...
You're preaching.
Exactly.
Like, one thing I was going to say, like, not even like from like a childhood perspective, but like me today, one thing that I've had to stop doing is like, I'll get curious in like some of the albums I'm reviewing. I'll go on album of the year and like look them up to see what people have been rating them. But I've had to like force myself to not look at that until after I've reviewed it, because if I'm like sometimes I'll like look at it in the middle of an album and I'm liking it, and then I see that like the reviews are down, and then I'm like, in the back of my mind I'm like, oh, I wonder why like
you're
they
sabotaging
don't like
yourself, man.
I legitimately am sabotaging myself. And like even though these people, like, I don't know who they are, they don't know who I am, we're probably like never gonna meet, but then I'm just like, it's like, do I have to impress myself or impress the masses by being like, oh yeah, this album was mid too?
Yeah. And I think another part of that is like, I feel like people don't know how to form their own opinions anymore. Like, like now with the internet and the age of everything's at your fingertips, and you can look up anything, and you can look up anything, and some stupid fucking AI that's destroying the world is going to answer it.
Yeah.
Yep.
I hate that. I wish there was a way to turn off this AI shit, man. But back to what I was saying. Like, people are just like, I feel like people are so quick to like, oh, like, when it comes to like facts, sure, whatever. But when it comes to like opinions in more different aspects, like a big thing is like understanding art, understanding what the context of these things mean. Is like people joke about like the AI art reading book summaries. Like eventually that's all they're gonna be, and there's gonna be you're never gonna be able to truly interact with this art. And I feel like that's also an outcome of having everything at your fingertips, because I don't know how they teach in schools, but like it'd be a shock to me if people actually taught people to have their own opinions on things, especially with the current media landscape of how polarized everything is.
Oh, I think this just sparked something that even as a kid I hated it, but looking back on it, Socratic seminars I think are some of the most important pieces of like knowledge to spread. And you'd be like history class, and talking about like, what was it? It was like my 8th grade history class, and we were talking about the different Protestant churches, and you were given like your belief system, and you had to defend it, but also talk about how there are like downsides to it. And then everyone at the table at the end of it was like 2 days straight in class was just talking about this. Then people had to decide who was like, because I think we were trying to do something where it's like, what is going to be our church for the town? But we could only decide on one. So we had to go into a lot of like, what is it, like Lutheran, just normal like Protestant, and like Greek Orthodox stuff, and like really like, it was so interesting. And I've done plenty of them later. I think Socratic seminars like that, and also essay editing. I had essay writing courses strictly for freshman year, and I thought they were so helpful because, first of all, especially going into college and after COVID, people lost like half of their social skills, and
they didn't know how to do anything.
You don't know how to do anything. I'm
definitely not included. I'm not excluded from that, but
yeah, like no, like I am like antisocial, but I think that also comes from like a social anxiety of like, I don't want to look like in your own head where you're like, I don't want to look weird, I don't want to sound weird, like stuff like that. But it's just like the collaboration of opinions. Like me working right now with like the football team and how we're trying to organize stuff, like helmet wise, when guys are coming in to like get their pads ready and get the season started. Me and my boss threw like 10 ideas off of each other, and we're just like, what do you think about that? I like it, but this is like a problem. And it's just problem solving. I feel like the generation below us doesn't have problem solving.
All right, back in my day.
Like I don't, but my dad, it's like, but my dad would also force me. I don't want to say force, but like, would really push me to like problem solve. Mm-hmm. He wouldn't just go like, oh, like I don't know, like I was younger, like oh the block's under the table, like losing a toy or something. He goes, I don't know, I kind of saw it in that direction.
Yeah.
And like he'll lead you, but you're doing the problem solving. I feel like kids now, the second they don't get something in like 3 seconds, they're like, ChatGPT, what's 2 + 2?
Yeah,
like,
exactly.
It's like they don't give themselves. It's like
AI. AI is the worst thing to ever happen. That's not true. Don't quote me on that. But
it just needs to be heavily regulated.
Like for I think it hurts everything interpersonal, and it betrays who we are as people to just not figure things out, to not problem solve.
Yeah.
Wow, what a tangent.
Yeah. The social anxiety thing, that kind of brings me down another tangent. Welcome to the Tangent Podcast, guys.
Yeah, Tangent Podcast.
Jimmy, the social anxiety thing that you mentioned, it brought up something for me. Like, I'm also kind of a victim of this, where I feel like, especially in the social media climate, I'm getting like fake pressure from like people that I don't know about like when I'm reviewing this music, because I've had to get better at being more honest about how I actually feel about a song, and not thinking of like what another person's reaction will be, or like almost thinking it's like, oh, I don't want the artist to feel bad or something, because, and like I see that because right now I'm working on a post for the 1-year anniversary of the weekly listens, and one thing I've been trying to do is see what like my average rating is, and like my 2024 my average was a 7 flat, and like this year so far it's been like a 7.3, and I think that it could just be that that's what the albums have legitimately averaged out to in my head, but I sometimes wonder if it is just like picking a 7 is like the safest option in terms of like that could please the most people. Like,
yeah,
I'm saying like it's pretty good, but like I'm not gonna say something's like really good and then people are gonna be like, oh, that album sucks and stuff. And that's something I've kind of noticed in the process of going through this series we've done, is I've kind of noticed that my ratings are getting more harsh and more varied. Like, I feel like when I started, most of my like song ratings would be like 7, 6, 8. But now I'm seeing albums where I have a 10 and a 4.5 like on the same album, which was the JID album. But and those were back to back. But it's been, I mean, this could just be like I'm putting my beliefs on like the rest of the world, but I kind of feel like a lot of people will kind of go a similar mindset of me, of just like picking the safest option because it will offend the least amount of people. Yes,
I'm raising my hand. I am also very guilty of this. And I think it's another factor that contributes people not only, to take it to Don't Tap the Glass, scared to dance in public, to take it to my own performing, scared to sing in front of other people, take it to Anthony Fantano, people not feeling valid to their own opinions or not being able to fully express their own opinions because they're scared of it, if there's going to be a repercussion because our current like how the current social media landscape is today. I
Or
think
it's just like it's a trend to like, oh, this guy's take sucks. I mean,
no, exactly. Like you just want to like to fit in, or like and then if you say, oh, I didn't think that way, people are just like, oh, you're just playing devil's advocate. Like they invalidate your opinion because it's not the opinion of the greater whole.
yeah.
God, the performance anxiety for me is definitely different. I would say it's different from you guys just because you stepped on stage more than 3 times, I'm assuming, in your life.
Yeah.
So like,
Ari stepped on stage
technically
7 times in 1 week.
Well, technically,
Yeah,
I would count for me personally, I find music performance is like miles different from any theatrical performance for my own performance anxiety. I feel like for music, I don't know, in my head for like the music performance, I don't know, like to have something else with me and to like to play the saxophone. I'm using the saxophone to play, but like to just be me and to have to use my own voice. I don't know what, there's just something about that I don't know why it like gives me so much anxiety.
yes. In middle school, I did chorus, and as a group, this was like the weird thing for me was, even back then I was like, oh, I don't know if I can sing, but within my class, me and like one of me and Dylan's friends, Josh, were like the people to carry the bass section, at least. Like we were just the louder guys who actually sung, because everyone else was like mumbling. So then I felt more confident, because I guess it was like we were the outliers to be heard. But then I had my singing final this past semester, and like we went on stage, and it was probably like my first time singing by myself for a like performance. Who, if it wasn't an intro level singing class, I would have failed with a fat 0, because I went up there and just went, legitimately, the background music played and I got maybe 10 words out.
Oh my god.
In terms of a comedian, I bombed. It was like awful. And she's like, hey, you're okay? And I'm like, I'm okay. What?
Don't tell me what I am.
I'm like, no, it wasn't even that. I was just like, what do you mean? I was like, that was not okay. I'm like, the final performance, what it had on the paper was to perform a song. I sat there with just music.
What song was it?
That's the thing. So, I'm gonna CBD by Breakins. It's like a hyper pop alternative. Wait. But let me get this straight.
Way.
It's not like the song that I did. He does hyper pop, but it wasn't just like do like crazy hype. It was like a slowed down like kind of melody like going through. I wasn't just going something crazy. But it was like
Money
a song
by 100 Gex.
But it was a song I've known for 3 years. Like Breakin's one of my top artists. Not saying he's like the greatest, but one of my favorite. And that's a song that I like really enjoy, in that I thought I knew the words to. The second I stepped on stage, I did not.
Yeah.
So performance anxiety is a bitch.
Oh yeah. I think when it comes to social anxiety, like earlier in my life, like in middle school, my mom would try and encourage me to join the chorus, but that maybe that the same social anxiety, because I was like, I can't do it, it's too much, like for like my anxiety, my social anxiety. So yeah, I guess I've been dealing with the singing social anxiety for my entire life, and I wonder where I would be if I had joined chorus in middle school.
For me, it's so weird, because I feel like it almost, whether I have anxiety about a performance depends on the format. Because like, I mean, I like to think that I'm pretty prepared for all the chorus concerts I'm in, but like in the off chance I wasn't, I feel like I wouldn't have, I mean, I would probably feel worried because I wouldn't feel prepared, but I feel like there's less fear about it because it's an ensemble.
Oh no, absolutely. I yeah.
And like with theater, I think I have less worry if I was in an ensemble role rather than like if I was a lead. And I noticed that with the 39 Steps, like that was my first time ever.
And boy, is that a leading role.
Yes, uh, almost 400 lines.
Oh.
And yeah, that was a fun time. But it legitimately was great. But I remember like generally I'm like, oh, I'm good, and then I only get nervous like the night before or like right before I go on stage. My Instagram profile picture for a while was like that picture of me like locked in sitting in like a chair.
Yeah.
That was just me like completely in my head, just like, oh my God, what am I doing? And that was the last show. But
oh wow.
And then the other thing that kind of makes me nervous is like if it's a competition, because I mean in Massachusetts we have METG, which is you would do a play, and then you and then a bunch of other high schools in Massachusetts it's 6 schools in a round. You would perform it during the day, and then it was like a tournament basically.
Ooh.
And I was cut the first year I did it, but then the second time I was in it, it was fun. And like right before we like literally like I was waiting in the wings and we were waiting for the show to start, I like had to like crouch on the floor and like just like breathe because I got so worried about like this is a competition, like what if we didn't move on because I didn't do something right and blah blah blah. And funny story, Ari, one of the judges of that competition was Katie.
No way.
Yeah,
that's fun.
And then we learned that in my first advisor meeting. I'm like, wait, you were the judge? But and like even like the next year that happened, we did that. And I imagine like if today we went for any kind of competition, I would get freaked out again. And
yeah,
it's just so interesting how it's all the same thing, really. Like,
yeah,
the basis of what we're doing is sharing ideas. And yet
that's so
some
scary,
ideas
though.
are so scary. Yeah. All right. Oh, is Jimmy back?
Hopefully.
Jimmy, are you with us?
I've been hearing the entire time.
Half robot.
I've been here the entire time, and I've been hearing you, but for me it's been a constant 30-second cycle of reconnecting on my screen and losing your videos. But to add on like the sports side of what Dylan says, like the crouching and like having to take a couple deep breaths before a game, even in club lacrosse now, like I still get nervous, and
he'll have the audio, don't worry.
Yeah, I will. Yeah. And what I do is just like crouch. I
know exactly what you're saying.
No, yeah. I crouch down and then I like just jump up, spring up to release the energy. And
oh man,
this is all on my end.
Well,
yep. Okay. But the lacrosse shit that I was talking about, I guess we're just smiling and nodding through audio.
Yeah.
But it's on. I have the recording.
Great.
So, and I'm not repeating myself. So.
Okay.
All right. Well, that was episode 4 of the Weekly Listeners podcast.
Thanks for having me.
Yeah, thank you very much, Ari, for coming on.
I'm glad I got to go on a tangent about video games.
No, we covered a lot. There's something for everyone on this show.
And how we're losing the essence of what it means to be a human being. But that's besides the point, and this is a music podcast.
Yeah. I mean, everyone share this with... I'm sure there's something for everyone. If you like video games, if you like music, if you like sports, if you
don't like AI.
If you don't like AI, if you like existentialism, we got it all here on the Weekly Listens podcast. So thank you again, Ari, for coming on.
Yeah, of course. Thanks for having me. It's been a blast.
And have a good day, everyone.
Toodaloo.
Bye.
Bye.
Toodaloo.